I come forward today because I'm finally allowed to. In 91, when I contacted Jeff Anderson, that wasn't a possibility because of the statute of limitations. I'm coming forward, I guess, because I've always felt it's my duty to do what I can so that no other children ever have this happen. I'm here because of my duty to help support and encourage any others that have had it happen, and know that they can finally have a voice and they can sue. You know, I had a prepared statement, and fortunately, I'm not really reading off of it, to be honest. I guess my heart goes out. My heart goes out to all the kids that were abused by Hokanson, by Steibel, and by anyone else. In my case, in my situation, of the 20 or 30 children, the Boy Scouts knew about it. The church knew about it. These people in the organization that teach the children the oath and the Boy Scout laws and the mottos, to be honest, to have integrity, to do the right thing, couldn't practice what they preached. And that is inexcusable. It's inexcusable that they knew about it, with these and those. They failed me as a child, and they failed a lot of other kids. Kids that to this day don't feel like they can talk about it or bring it up. I guess that's all I have to say right now.
Well, we want to applaud you, Scott, for stepping up and standing up, filing this action. You did it under a John Doe, not using your name because you can. And we want you and others to know you didn't have to come here today, but you chose to come and use your name. And you chose to come and speak truth to power, and to help us understand what you've been through and what you need and want to have happen, which is making sure that the Boy Scouts of America at the national level come clean with all the information they've assembled for 90 years, some of which is in these files. And that information is that there are perversion files maintained by them and kept secret, and not known to those parents who trust, those volunteers on the ground, those troop leaders, and all those at the local level across the country. And thus they're unwarned and unwary. And it is in the case of Richard Hokanson, who molested Scott and many other kids. And the file maintained by the Boy Scouts of America was kept secret. And here it is. And it was in these files right here. It was in these files right here. And this is it. And this file was only created by the Boy Scouts of America for use by top executives. And it was as a result of the courageous survivor that came forward to Paul Monis and Kelly Clark that caused these files to be disgorged in Portland. And these files can all now be accessed online at kellyclarkattorney.com. And we have them for dissemination to the public and to the people to know what the Boy Scout top executives knew from 1965 to 85. We don't know what they knew from 85 to 1999, and so there's a big gap. But in the courageous and through the courageous actions of John Doe 180, whose trial was scheduled to begin this week, we got these files. And it was this week that we intended to use these files to show there are 1,539 files between 1999 and 2008. And among the many perversion files that show that the Boy Scouts of America and the top executives had full knowledge of a specific danger across this country and made a choice, a conscious choice, to conceal and to keep all this information secret. And to our disappointment, and I think to the peril of the community, we are yet to be unable to release the contents of these files, but we will as soon as we are able. But we have these files and we have these information before you today, standing on the shoulders of the courage of Scott Hart, John Doe 180, and the other survivors that have stood up against this organization to call them out and to help them come clean. Because until they do, more Scott Harts, more Doe 180s, and others like them will continue to be molested by the unwary. Those are the parents, the scout leaders, the volunteers, and all those who do the good work at the local level, not knowing that predators and pedophiles are attracted to scouting, and that when they are discovered, their identity is protected by top executives in the Boy Scouts of America and kept secret. And so today we're here to speak truth and to celebrate the power of the truth over the lies and the deceptions at the top, and to honor and applaud all those survivors that have come forward and Scott Hart, and to encourage other survivors in Minnesota to now know that the law has changed and now permits survivors to break the silence and to take action and to protect their own privacy in a way they couldn't before because of the statute of limitations. Scott Hart had called me in the early 90s seeking help, and I brokenheartedly had to tell him that the statute of limitations had shut him out and he couldn't take action. But our legislature and the governor signed into law the ability of Scott and other survivors to come forward. So we're grateful to you, Scott, and to all the survivors for this chance to use your courage to reach out to those that are suffering in silence, to make the truth known, to sound the alarm, and to expose the concealment of dangerous information, being held at the top of the Boy Scouts, and to today request and demand that the Boy Scouts of America, while they avoided a trial in Ramsey County this week, to request and demand that they do the right thing and step up and disgorge and come clean with all the perversion files and the identities of the perverts in them. So all those kids and parents across America can know who has been and who they know to be pattern offenders. Offenders just like Hokanson and just like Peter Steibel, who continue to abuse and abuse and abuse and use their position as scout leader, as Scoutmaster, to groom the parents and the kids and abuse them like Scott. So thank you to you, Scott, for your courage and your will, and to all those survivors who have broken the silence and those that are yet to come forward because of the new law.